Right now on 710, we're taking off with 9 hours of live and local LA sports talk.
The home of the 9-hour LA Sports Mega Block.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking.
We call it the LAX, LA Sports Mega Block. Of course, powered every day by LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, where change arrives daily. Let's get to it. Time to get in the air. We're taking off, LA.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Travis and Sliwa has clearance right now.
San Diego.
It's good. I've seen none of it. I just came straight to work here. I was told by Emily and Greg.
Sure, secret agent stuff.
Yep,
Great.
I was told by Emily and Greg, do not enjoy it at all. Don't even think about coming anywhere close to Coastal. So I'm just following the rules, AK. That's all I'm doing.
I mean, we don't picture any of these finger quote excursions that you go on pleasure at all. They're all business.
Of course.
They're all black ops. They're all off the grid. We understand.
Listen, maybe I'm in San Diego, maybe I'm not. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm not going to give up too
black
much
curtain
information.
behind you reveals nothing.
It reveals nothing. Right.
And I love the text of, like, you have some things to take care of. And, again, you have some things to take care of, as in people that you need to take care of, as in whack.
He has things to dispose of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, Slee, I'm happy
exactly
for your mission.
right.
I hope it's going well.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on the details. Probably not, but we'll play it that way. Laura in the house today. Laura, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Okay, so we got half the team here.
Yep.
And then we got, obviously as strong as it gets with AK and Laura as well. So
Okay,
Trav
wait,
is out.
Slee, what the heck is up with this? Why am I the only one that's working both the Rams game and our show? This is like a lack of accountability for the rest of the crew. Jorge's not here. Travis isn't here, but I will see them later today. So they're all going to be well rested.
Was there any question to Trav? Like, hey, Trav, talk to me, my brother. What, we got the show in the morning.
Yeah.
Why?
Load managing over here. I am going to play every single game, every minute of every single game, and Trav is load managing. He's trying to. I mean, his voice. He gets injured. He's maybe not so AD, but he is LeBron. He's aging. He's old. You got to take care of his throat. Yeah. Jorge, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that.
Well, with AK, we're part of the in-season tournament, and it's the comp of the in-season. So right now they hit their high, and now they're just trying to get through the rest of the season. AK, you know what I'm talking about?
Which one of them is the Pacers and which one of them is the Lakers? Because they both have been losing. Since
They're both the Lakers. They're both the Lakers.
Jorge can be the Pacers.
Just an awful 1-4 stretch. Okay, so. Are you guys all done with your Christmas show? Like, you guys all set? I feel like you guys are all responsible. AK, I'm not 100% sure if you're the guy that's going in at Christmas Eve or not, but I'm just going to assume Laura and Emily, you guys are all set for Christmas. Are you guys all done with all your shopping?
I was done like 10 days ago.
Okay,
I kind of get it done really quickly because I send it all across the country, and so it's all working itself out. I do have one of my sister's gifts is coming the day that I leave, and so I'm very worried about that gift's safety. But I get all of mine done really early.
Laura, where are you on this?
I'm completely done. Everything wrapped. I need to know what I'm going to get. I'm a very thoughtful giver, so It takes a lot for me. And I'm also a bargain shopper, so Black Friday is my favorite.
Same.
So I get a lot of things really early, and I'm like, done. No stress for December.
Okay, AK, you're kind of the deciding factor on this, because either this is just simply put, women are just so much more organized and they get things done in advance. They don't procrastinate, at least when it comes to shopping and everything else, or I'm just an idiot. So which one do you fall into?
So, bring me into this conversation a little more. What are we buying gifts for? Like, what's the occasion? Is there something going on? I'm a little lost where we're going with all this.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Yeah, no, that actually makes more sense now.
Yeah,
that makes more sense now.
I think
an anniversary.
I think it's large. I think it's largely done. My wife and I sort of confer on a lot of this stuff. Mm-hmm. It's really largely just stuff for our daughter. I might look around a little bit more over the next couple of days, but the base foundation has been handled, and I'm not allowed to wrap anything. I can't wrap gifts to save
Really?
money.
I am so bad at wrapping too. I cannot do it.
Well,
Do you guys pay? Do you guys go to the mall? And
no, my sister doesn't. My sister's
I've
the elf
taken
of our
presents
house.
to the mall.
It's on no.
No,
Yeah, I
because
have
you know
done that.
why? No child cares.
No, they don't.
They do. The only person in our house who cares is my wife, and she does it really well. Like, she's next level at wrapping stuff. Like, I think the way I wrap it, it looks fine because
Not for
it's
her,
just
huh?
there to
I'm
get
awful.
opened.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
I'm awful.
How bad are you?
I won't even I'm at the point where, and it's been like this for years, I'm not even attempting to wrap. So either I am
So you're pushing this all on Lady Slee?
either
was
Lady
gonna ask.
Slee's going to do it, and if I got to get her stuff wrapped, whoever's at the mall, there's definitely malls that are doing the wrappings, and I'm getting completely used and abused as far as what it costs to do it, but it's worth every dime.
So you're funding
somebody's
that.
doing
You're
it.
funding that sham industry. Like, it's basically
Wait,
Alan
no,
Sliwa.
it's not a sham because I'll make a Inc. or whatever LLC of Laura real quick. I rap really, really nice, so
Okay.
you can do a donation.
So
to
it's not a
Laura's
sham if
LLC.
Laura does it.
Laura,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you put out there,
I'm gonna send you a picture of my tree sleeve so you can see. I color coordinate stuff too.
look, this is the organization I'm talking about. Because this is where I was basically getting to. I'm not done with my shopping, which means tomorrow I'm gonna be at the mall. That I'm
In an
gonna be.
undisclosed city.
What's that?
In an undisclosed city.
Yeah.
Within the state
Keith.
of California.
Downtown.
I will be at a
somewhere.
mall within the state. But I am that guy, and this is kind of tradition. Everybody has tradition, right? The Cowboys the Commanders playing things.
Lakers
I-
fan Christmas.
Exactly. I am usually at the mall either a couple of days before Christmas or on Christmas Eve. I will say this as a kind of a trained professional when it comes to this. Christmas Eve, I don't know if you guys ever been to the mall on Christmas Eve. It's really not a headache at all.
Yeah,
There's
because
not,
people are with their families.
everybody already did it.
People are enjoying the season. of
Everybody
giving.
already did it. They're getting ready for church or whatever they're going to be doing. I'm walking around whistling and skipping, and I could go
Amazing.
from any store moving forward.
But tomorrow, that's going to be a hellhole.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be bad.
You know, we were talking about wrapping. I just recently learned that underneath the wrapping paper is that grid that you can use to line up. Like, I had no idea.
That's fancy
Yep.
paper.
I had
Ghetto paper don't have that grid.
really.
Yeah, the cheap one don't have
I
it.
mean,
Damn,
the wrapping-
Andy.
Well, I mean,
Must be nice,
yeah,
bro.
you got that money, bro.
Jeez.
I just figured most wrapping paper was like $100 a roll. Like,
Right,
am I
exactly.
shopping
You
expensive?
buy it with your gold coins.
Yeah. I figured you needed credit references for most
Of course,
wrapping paper,
yeah.
correct?
Yes,
But-
I
two.
mean, we're not buying expensive wrapping paper.
And
this is pretty.
you also have to only have 3 pieces of tape. That's what you do. You have 3 pieces of tape at all times. That's all you need. You need 1 on each side and then 1 in the middle.
I just
I
don't
don't
You know what it
I
is?
had no idea that grid was there.
It's more the. AK, are you patient for stuff like that?
I mean,
That's a
you
no.
mean like to do it perfectly?
Yeah.
It's not a patience thing. I just, it's a spatial awareness, and I guess planning ahead, part of that spatial awareness. Every time I feel like I'm giving myself like too much paper to fold over, and as it turns out, it's never enough. I just don't see this thing well.
But at
So
least
now,
you try.
now you're cutting other paper and you're trying to just tape it on. And no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
recently I had to wrap a Hanukkah gift for my daughter because we were coming up on lighting the candles, and my wife was stuck in a work meeting, and I had to do it myself, and I followed the grid, and I thought I was doing this really artfully and that it was going to look lovely, and as it turned out, I had to put the thing with the wrapped part face down, like where everything was taped and whatever.
No way.
It comes out lumpy. I don't know how, but I managed to make this really, really
I'm gonna
That
start-
might make it
I'm-
lumpy either.
Yes.
I'm going to start
Wow.
putting gifts in Ralph's paper bags. I'm just going to start doing that. I think AK. Then I'm thinking ahead here. There's a handle to it. People then don't have to worry about ripping it apart. I think that's the smart thing to do. No, I'm absolutely awful when it comes to some of that stuff. And I got tomorrow. I'm not done. I mean, I did some. Most of it I did online, but there's still a couple things I got to go get. So I will be one of the few and the brave at the mall tomorrow, trying to make it happen.
Right. And about the wrapping too. It's like women aren't necessarily born knowing how to wrap paper. We just learn and we try and we get better at it. That's what everybody could do. Everyone can learn and try and get better.
Well, not everyone. I can promise you, not everyone.
I wrapped a candle. Like a cylinder calendar. I went on YouTube and it's like the best way to wrap a candle. And I was like, oh, okay.
See, that works.
Came out really nice.
You learn and you be patient and you try.
I'm looking at this photo Laura just sent all of us of her Christmas tree. Honestly, if you took everything, picked it up, and moved it to a mall, you would not know any difference. Like, it is that much precision. Like, it's honestly incredible.
Thank you. I put a lot of thought into it.
This is basically when you walk into Bloomingdale's, this is it.
Okay,
this is it.
You guys are sweet, but there's like pockets where I was like, oh, I don't like how this looks. But, my boyfriend's like, you need to stop. It looks really, really nice.
It does look
And it's
really
all just going to be ripped open eventually.
But the tree looks really good. Is that a real tree or a fake tree?
It's a fake tree.
Fake tree?
Yeah, I can't do a real tree.
You can't do real tree?
No, because it's too messy. Like, and then you got to put
Don't
the
you
water.
want the smell? Like, that's the only thing.
Yankee
and listen,
Candle?
I'm telling you, growing up as in the Sliwa household in El Cajon, it was fake tree every year, and I don't think they even had any idea what a real tree was. But I try to go real tree. Something about the smell. Like, something about the smell kind of is my selling point for me.
There are literally things you can hang on your tree that make it smell like it's a real tree. I don't like it, but I have
those car wash air fresheners.
No, not the
a bunch of them on
I'll
the
take
tree
the
as
lemon.
ornaments.
Let me do the lemon this time.
No, but there's I literally
New
have a
car
Yankee
smell.
Candle that's like Christmas tree smelly.
Well, they
whatever.
usually have fir tree though. Like that's usually one of the actual. Like you could actually use those car wash ornaments to make your tree smell like a tree.
Really? Yeah, true.
I like that, AK. I like that. Okay, so what a busy day today. I mean, Em is rolling up her sleeve. She's going to be working the Rams Corona Extra Countdown to kickoff, which starts, by the way, at 3:15. Pre-game show for the Lakers coming up. They're in Minnesota, and they're just looking, I guess, apparently, AK, to stack up as many losses as they can after the in-season tournament.
They're not filling their cups.
That starts at 4:30. Tip-off's going to be at 6. This game, by the way, so Rams are going to be on 710 ESPN. Lakers are going to be on KRLA AM 870, or just click on that Lakers tile on the ESPN LA app, and you can stream the game as well. So,
same for the Rams, too. You can click on the Rams tab, and you can listen there, too. So you can stream both games,
There you
or
go.
you can listen on terrestrial radio.
Okay, when we come back, let's spend a little time on the Lakers. They're 1-4 since the in-season tournament. I thought there was an interesting quote coming out of from Derek Fisher yesterday from Spectrum Sportsnet, explaining where the Lakers are. D'Angelo Russell, I know, AK, you and I both want to get into where his psyche is and how does he get out of his slump. So we'll do all that coming up next. Stay right here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. This is the Travis and Sliwa Show, AK in the house on 710 ESPN. out today. He is still be there for the Rams pregame show coming up tonight against the Saints. Thursday night football. Rams in a fantastic position, 7-7 record, but 2 very winnable games, and then we'll see if that final game means anything to the San Francisco 49ers. Lakers got a game coming up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The T-Wolves, best record in the Western Conference. AK, it's funny. You know, we've been – I don't know how you felt, but I thought after the in-season tournament, and it had nothing to do with the actual in-season tournament. It just had more to do with – felt like the Lakers were playing some good basketball. Health was starting to come back. You're starting to see guys, okay, hey, Vando looks like he's going to make his appearance, which he eventually did. Rui, I know, was in and out of the lineup, but he was going to come back. Cam Reddish. So it's fair to start feeling incredibly optimistic about the Lakers. They won the in-season tournament, but more importantly, they were winning regular season games, and they were starting to play good defense. They were starting to get their guys available and healthy, and it looked like there was a trajectory where if you go look at the next 5 games, they had Dallas, 2 against San Antonio, the New York Knicks at home, and the Chicago Bulls. All right, let's go. Momentum is building for the Lakers. Here we are sitting today. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. I'm going to read something to you here because I think this is the part that tells a lot about the story. They gave up 127 to the Mavs, 119 to the Spurs, 129 to the Spurs, 114 to the Knicks, and then last night against the Bulls, another 124. They seem like they're all over the place. I don't really have a reason or an answer of why they're playing such bad basketball right now, but what do you make of these last 5 games for the Lakers? And then we'll get specifically into that Bulls game.
I mean, I do think there is an element of they were not just playing really well during the IST, but it was something that they very clearly wanted to win as a group. They were really dialed in, and I think having sort of that tangible thing to focus them was really helpful and bring out the best in themselves. But also they were expending a lot of energy. In particular, LeBron was expending the type of energy that he is not at this stage of his career used to doling out that much in early and mid-December. Just because for practical reasons, where he is at this stage of his career, he needs to be, pacing himself. And he hasn't been, and everybody, I think, has looked tired to some degree, but I think LeBron in particular has looked very tired. And, in certain respects, because of the control LeBron has over this offense and over everything they do, if he doesn't have the necessary energy, I think it's going to be felt for everyone. And also, too, like they have been traveling a lot. Mm-hmm. And, like Mike Trudell, a friend of both of ours, does sideline reporting for the Lakers television broadcasts. He every year does a schedule piece when the Lakers, it gets released. And a couple things that he noted heading into this year that I think we're starting to see the effects of. A, the Lakers have more back-to-backs this year than last year. But also, two, in terms of tracking rest, like how much rest you have in between games, amount of time, days in between games, stuff like that. The Lakers were at a really big rest disadvantage this year. That they were going to be, the way this formula figures it out, they're going to be tired more often than rested. And I think we're seeing that on top of the in-season tournament, that energy expended that you never know what it's going to feel like till after you do it. They look like a group right now that is dying for like a week off to mentally and physically recharge, and they're not getting it. That ain't
okay,
gonna happen.
so then this is my question. Did the in-season tournament, just simply put, did it hurt the Lakers? Did the in-season tournament, that if they're going to expend that much energy in a tournament that, listen, this is just my opinion, is literally meaningless. There's no meaning to it, in my opinion, other than those regular season, they count towards your regular season schedule. So just winning those games is advantageous because of that. But if we're sitting here and we're talking about how they're 1-4 since then, and LeBron is saying, well, go look at the Indiana Pacers, who I think are 1-4, 1-5, whatever they are, since the in-season tournament as well. Is it as simple as, well, the Lakers then, just from a executive decision, if you're trying to comprehend in your own mind what's more important at this stage of the season? Is winning this in-season tournament, or just, hey, let's pace ourselves. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I almost feel like the way you're explaining it, which I think is the right way to explain it, and listening to some of the other quotes that have come up since the Lakers won this thing, it's been a detriment to them that they went all in the way they did in December.
Well, I mean, we won't know until April and hopefully beyond. You know what I mean? Like if by the middle of January the Lakers have turned things around and they look like the form that we saw in the in-season tournament, they're able to sustain it, then it was just a bump where they were tired. You know what I mean? Like this is one of those things like similar to how we're not going to truly know what the in-season tournament means. Because like you said, it means nothing to you, and I get that it means nothing to you. But it meant something to them, the guys playing it, and it meant a lot to players around the league because you could see there were a lot of teams who wanted to win it. But as far as what the thing actually means, we're really not going to know for 5 to 10 years when it either becomes a part of NBA culture or doesn't. Like, it's one of those things you don't know until the future. Mm-hmm. What this means for the Lakers, I don't know, because the season doesn't end at the end of December. You know what I mean? Like, in certain respects, what it means, we're not going to know until we see whether or not they get through it and how this 1-4 stretch ultimately affects them for the season as a whole. If they still end up getting into the playoffs with a decent seed or whatever, then I would say it doesn't mean anything. Just be more prepared for it next year.
So you're not wrong in anything you just said, but all we can do is assess of what's just happened, right? And
it's kicking their ass right now, if that's what you're asking me.
And that's AK, that's my point. My point is that you're right. Listen, maybe the Lakers go on a 5-game winning streak, which I think we both, with Minnesota, OKC, and Boston coming up, that's probably not going to be happening. But all I can really just assess is based off of they win this in-season tournament. And now in these 5 games, it's not like people are saying, you know what, look, Lakers have just had a couple bad shooting nights, which they have. But it's more of the conversation of they look tired. They look like they spent a lot of their energy towards the in-season tournament. So in a month from now, you're right, there's going to be more clarity. In 2 months from now, even more clarity. And if they end up being a 4 or 5 seed in the Western Conference, then who the hell cares, at that stage. But I do find it interesting. I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't think that the way they were playing, if I'd have told you after the in-season tournament, this is the next 5 games that you have. If I'd have said, hey, they're going to go 4-1, you'd be like, wow, what a great stretch. They're going to go 3-2. Okay, hey, that sounds about right. You got 2 against San Antonio. You got a Chicago team that apparently has become the 96 Bulls since Zach LaVine is out.
They are 7-3 for people unaware. Counting yesterday's win over the Lakers, they're 7-3 since Zach LaVine sat. He's shelved with an injury right now, which, by the way, is the worst thing in the world for the
Zach
Bulls.
LaVine.
It's bad for Zach LaVine's trade value, but it's also bad though. Like if you're looking to salary dump. If you're looking to salary dump Zach LaVine, which you might have to do, part of the rationale where you sell it to fans is, well, this season isn't going anywhere, therefore we're looking to retool and rebuild. But if all of a sudden you look good the minute you're getting rid of Zach LaVine, then fans are like, well, why are we salary dumping? Like, why are we just going to toss this season away? Like, this is not good for Chicago in certain respects.
Well, it's funny. So yesterday, Jamal Collier, who covers the Bulls for ESPN, he hopped on the pregame show. And and Michael kind of had asked the same question. This is before the game, right? This is before they won another one without Zach LaVine. And it was, why are they winning without Zach LaVine? And he said there's kind of a little bit of a spark. The ball moves more. They're more free. So I think to kind of hit on some of the points that you're talking about where it's not the best look for the Chicago Bulls, especially it's not like it's an expiring contract for Zach LaVine. It's not like there's no,
it is anything but expiring.
Anything but expiring. So I think that's an interesting point to bring up. And I know that wasn't even kind of the angle that I was going at. It was more that I thought over these 5 games that they just played, there were some favorable games there. That if you walked away 3-2, let's say with the Knicks, okay, yeah, Lakers will win at home, but they'll probably lose in New York. You split that. at Chicago looked like a favorable matchup. 2 against the Spurs. I know Bron didn't play in one. AD and D'Lo and Cam didn't play in another. But as the dust has settled here, it's not like I could sit here and tell you, well, they're going to be fine. This is just a bad little – I don't know who they are. They're 4 or 5 games below 500 in non-in-season tournament games.
When will you know who they are? When is it going to super worry you if you don't know who they are? Is it in January if they go through the trade deadline? Or is it just kind of like you're going to have to see what this team forms into come February? Because last year we had no idea who the Lakers were at this point in time, or you kind of did.
Oh, no, we had a really good idea
As
who
they were
were
bad.
We knew exactly who they were.
But then they changed. They morphed, and they got to the Western Conference Finals. So when is it going to be incredibly worrisome?
For me, I need to see what they look like with the roster the same for a stretch. Like during the play in the in-season tournament and what was leading up to it, beyond the fact that the Lakers were playing really well, it was also a string where they had all the same guys.
Consistency.
There was consistency. Like, during this period, Alan, you mentioned like against San Antonio, they didn't have LeBron one game. They didn't have AD, D'Lo, and Reddish for the other game.
Sure.
They just got Gabe Vincent back, which hopefully big picture is a good thing, but that means reintegrating Gabe Vincent. Like, Jared Vanderbilt seems to be like he's on some type of minutes limit.
Yeah, he does.
He always seems to be re-aggravating something, so it limits the amount you can use him. I think Darvin Ham is often too reluctant to play Rui more minutes than he should be, but I do think this factor of playing in this mask, which is clearly bothering him, like I think he can't see, I think it's distracting for him, but that's limiting the amount Rui can be used beyond, again, what I think is Darvin's just, I think he runs hot and cold on Rui, but there isn't real consistency right now with the group. Like that's part of what you need to build something is just that familiarity with each other. Like Reeves talked after the game, there's a lot that they need to relearn right now, but they have to do it all in real time. Like they don't ever get to practice. They're playing a lot of back-to-backs. Like there's not a lot of time to do this beyond just either film sessions, talking amongst themselves, or figuring out the best version of yourself in real time in a game. That's not ideal.
So, Em, I'm going to answer a question when we come back because I do have some concerns that are not a month down the road, 2 months down the road. I think there's some concerns that we could talk about just today as we sit here and the Lakers getting ready to play Minnesota. I'm going to read off that Derek Fisher quote when we come back. And, AK, I know we were talking in the prep. D'Angelo Russell, some of your concerns there, and I'm sure concerns for a lot of Laker fans. We'll do all that coming up next. Stay right here. Travis and Sliwa Show, AK in the house, 710 ESPN.
I want to give a shout-out to all those
ESPN.
All right, guy. I know this is a very calming song going on right now, but I was fired up
Christmas
last night. It was a Christmas song. But last night. So those who listen to the show often know that I love Survivor. I'm a big fan of Survivor, and so the season finale happened yesterday, and I was texting my friends about it. I was super excited, but I wanted to tweet about it or see what the discussion was about the show on Twitter. I opened up my Twitter. Twitter's not working. Twitter is not refreshing. Nothing's happening. It's down. It's down for an entire hour, which is the peak, because I had to stay off Twitter because I didn't want to get any spoilers, guys. You don't want to spoil Survivor.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get any spoilers. And so I was trying to get all my fan interaction on hashtag Survivor. And I was very upset, so it ruined my night.
Did you wait? Did you just wait to eventually come back and do everything?
Eventually came back, and I didn't tweet anything, but I have been sending my friends, tweets that are funny and engaging for my friends that are Survivor fans this morning. But it was a tough time,
Okay,
guys. Feel bad for me.
I wanna compliment myself for a quick second. I didn't even know it was down. Listen, I think there are certain platforms where if you said, hey, if you don't have this for 24 hours, I'll give you mine. Mine is YouTube. I use YouTube so much. I consume so much from YouTube. If YouTube's out for 24 hours, that I'm noticing and feeling. And listen, I know Twitter. Twitter, obviously, because we're doing the show, so we're active on Twitter.
It's a lot of information still. Even though Twitter isn't what you used to be, there's still a lot of information on it.
Still a lot of information. But, AK, is there any of these? If one of these platforms is down, can you really notice? Are you using them that often?
I noticed the Twitter thing yesterday. But it was in part because it happened a little bit after the Laker game ended. So there was a couple things that I was going to send out. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't tell if it was my feed was down or everything was down.
Yeah, my friend texted me. It's like, hey, is your Twitter not working too? And
because it was very weird. It wasn't like the app wasn't working at all.
Right.
It just felt like my feed wasn't working. As it turns out, everybody individually felt like their feed wasn't working.
Yeah.
But it's not like you couldn't pull up Twitter. It was a very confusing glitch.
It wouldn't refresh.
Yeah, and what's weird is once Twitter came back up, I don't know if you guys saw AK's first tweet, he blamed one of the political parties. I don't want to mention which side he blamed, but it's crazy to me, AK, that you just went straight to politics on this.
So, Al, I'm okay. I'm finding your story a little bit. I'm not buying it. Okay, so you say you're in quote unquote San Diego, and then you also say that you didn't quote unquote notice that Twitter went down.
Right.
This all seems to be coming back to maybe you had something to do with this, maybe your secret agentness had something to do with this, that you didn't want someone tweeting about what you were doing, so you shut down Twitter so that we all couldn't experience it. Is that what's happening, Al?
You're on to me, Em. You're on to me.
Okay, I'm just
wherever it's going, you're on to me, and I got nothing from there. Okay, so AK, you put up. When you guys post for Locked On Lakers, do you guys post in the morning or do you guys post after the game?
Well, for this show that's available 5 days a week anywhere you get your podcasts, Alan,
correct.
Never behind a paywall, there's also a YouTube component.
What?
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
there is. There is a YouTube component.
That's crazy. It's just for you, Alan.
Well, yeah. I mean, seriously, if Alan could not get his Locked On Lakers through YouTube because YouTube went down, he wouldn't know what to do with himself. But generally speaking, we look. If it's a non-game day, we record when we just can record.
Sure.
Like when it works for both of our schedules. Mm-hmm. On a game night, we look to record as quickly after the game as we can to get, at minimum, the YouTube
reaction
version of the show up as quick as we can.
Okay, so this is why I was asking, and I don't know how much of the quotes that you're able to catch right after the game when Spectrum's doing their thing or the players. But here's a quote yesterday from Derek Fisher, and he's doing Spectrum Sportsnet. He says, I think there's a reason why you wait until the end of the season to celebrate a championship. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was this could just be somebody who, I mean, you could call it. There's two sides to this. Some people who are, hey, the in-season tournament, awesome, this is great, and then there might be others right now sitting back and saying, wait, did that actually affect the Lakers? What do you take of that quote when you hear D-Fish say that?
Okay, look, I understand where Fish is coming from. I don't think it really has, unless they exhausted themselves during the celebration. Like they went so crazy popping that champagne and jumping up and down that they literally tired themselves out. I don't see them right now as a team that is like fat and happy from the IST and all cocky and feels like they got this season all sewed up. They look exhausted. Like they look mentally and physically fried right now because they played so hard at a time where a lot of guys, particularly LeBron, aren't used to doing that.
Sure. You're not putting your foot down on the gas. Yep.
Right. They had an extra game on top of it, and it happened to come at a time where they were traveling a lot anyway. So, again, I understand what Fish means.
Yeah.
I just don't think it really has anything to do with the reasons that they're struggling right now. Like, they don't look they look like they're not on the same page with each other, but they don't look like they're disengaged in games. You know, like yesterday.
No, it's not an effort question. It's not any of that
yesterday
stuff.
Against Chicago, I mean, they came out looking really energized, like LeBron, who I've said a few times now, looks very
7
tired.
of the first 9, something like that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, like D'Lo has been a shell of himself over the last several games, and particularly last night against the Bulls, where he looked like he frankly was just trying to stay out of the way. But he doesn't look complacent. He looks lost. I mean, you can argue about which is worse, but I don't think D'Lo's out there looking like, hey, man, I got an IST medal, baby. I don't need to prove anything to anybody.
And I don't know if – and we'll get into D'Lo right now because I think that's an interesting conversation itself. I think Derek Fisher – I think the meaning of what he's saying is there's nothing to celebrate in December, right? And I think that ultimately is, I think, what he's talking about. And I'm going to go back to a point you made earlier. This is new for everybody.
Right.
So I'm sure there are a lot of teams looking at the first go-around of the in-season tournament saying, okay, well, that's interesting. Now we have a little bit more information that we didn't have before the tournament started. I'm sure there are teams probably looking at, well, that's odd. Why are the Lakers and the Pacers struggling after getting to the finals in the in-season? This is new for everybody, so I'm sure there's going to be adjustments as we go. The D'Lo portion of it, if you told me yesterday D'Angelo Russell did not play in the game, I would believe you. I would. And listen, he played 28 minutes. Ended up, I think he only took 6 shots. 4 of them were three-pointers. He was 0 for 4, had 2 points in the game. And you're right about his last couple of games. I mean, he's looked – lost is the right word because I think at times one of the things that I always hope for from D'Angelo Russell, and I'm not trying to compare D'Lo to Anthony Davis because there's nothing to compare, but you could tell when D'Lo's aggressive, I don't care if he misses shots. I like when D'Lo's aggressive, right? If D'Lo has I think he wants to be a facilitator first and a scorer second. Great. That's all good there. But sometimes when I see him just saying, I'm going to go get some buckets, I'm going to be aggressive tonight, I'm going to look for my shot, I'm going to try to get to the basket, I think it's beneficial for the Lakers. Yesterday, again, I go back to this. If you'd have told me he didn't play, I would have believed you, and that's how unimportant he was in this game. That's how as little as influential as you can possibly be, he was there. What did you make of D'Lo?
I mean, D'Angelo Russell, whether you're a fan of him, whether you don't like him, and he's always been a really polarizing player.
Yes, absolutely.
Among league execs, among fans, he's always somebody that sharply divides opinion. But whether you like him or don't like him, he is somebody that typically plays with a lot of swagger. And I think some fans think it's unearned swagger, but it's swagger nonetheless. That is part of his personality. Like, D'Lo has a cool factor to him. In this game in particular against the Bulls, his body language and demeanor was so inward. Like, it reminded me a lot of what we saw from D'Lo against Denver in the Western Conference Finals, where he clearly had just lost his confidence and was very self-aware of this. And again, against the Bulls, it looked to me like he was actually just trying to stay out of the way. Like, and he needs to snap out of this.
But why? Can I ask you a question, AK? I get it. Maybe the moment was too big. Maybe the Denver Nuggets after games were basically telling the media, yeah, we're going right at D'Lo, and they were working him literally off the court. Why in December against, like, I get it, that stage, that it happened to him. I don't understand it because I think you're 100% right. Watching yesterday's game, I feel there are some similarities there. Why is that happening against Chicago?
Well, I mean, I think, look, at the risk of psychoanalyzing D'Lo, he just now became trade eligible, and he signed a contract that was specifically designed to be trade flexible because he waived that implied no trade clause. D'Lo has essentially
to have a player option.
Yes,
right.
And D'Lo has essentially spent his entire career on the block. He knows what this period is. I think he's aware of it, if I had to guess, because he was entering a bit of a slump anyway. But ever since around this period, it's starting to become more pronounced. And look, these guys are human, and especially when I think in his case he wants to be here. I get a real sense that he wants to stay here. He wants to, finish out at least some of what he started before getting traded the first time around. And he's hyper aware, he's especially going to Chicago, where he's rumored to be eventually sent. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't shock me at all if this is a factor. I don't think it is entirely it, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is a notable factor. I hope tonight, by the way, in Minnesota, that he gets booed. It wouldn't shock me at all if the fans boo him, and I hope they do, not even because I think he deserves it, because I think he needs something that will just
snap him, wake him up, take it personal.
Yes, something like we saw recently, the Bruce Brown thing.
It's a great example.
That got to D'Lo. That bothered him, and it brought something good out of him. He needs something to snap him back to that confident personality. Even if he doesn't play well, I want to see him playing with confidence. He has no confidence over the last few games, and again, especially last night in Chicago. The Lakers need him to play well.
Yeah, it's not only do they need him to play well, there is a little bit of, listen, for you want D'Angelo Russell to play well just because you want D'Lo to help your team, and you obviously have invested into D'Angelo Russell, hopefully to try to stack up some W's, and the Lakers need him to. On the other side of it as well, if you're going to eventually trade D'Angelo Russell, and I know there's a lot of factors that goes into it. I know that maybe some of it could be, well, teams are just trying to get rid of guys with big contracts, a la Zach LaVine, or whatever circumstances out there. But this is obviously helping nobody, and certainly not helping D'Angelo Russell playing as bad as he's played here over this little stretch here, and certainly yesterday as well.
I mean, look, if you don't have any interest in D'Lo long term, you want him, if you're going to acquire him just to dump other salary, you want him playing well enough that he feels confident to opt out of his current deal. If D'Lo feels like his trade value or his market value, I should say, has depressed, then he's likely to opt into a deal that the other team may not want him for.
It won't have any choice, right? To hold on to the 18 or 18 and a half that he's going to be making. Okay, hey, did you see coming up next? And then coming up at 11, the Rams, I think, are in a fantastic position to make the playoffs. DeMarco Farr is going to join us at 11:15. We'll break down the Rams getting ready for Thursday Night Football against the Saints. We'll do that at 11 o'clock. But, hey, did you see with Laura coming up next? Stay right here. Travis and Sliwa Show, AK in the House, 710 ESPN.
Big news, Laker fans. John Ireland here. You can now stream every Lakers game on the ESPN LA app. Don't miss a second of the action with Michael Thompson and I on the call. Plus, all your live and local Lakers talk every day in the palm of your hand.
You're one tap away from everything Lakers.
You could even win Lakers tickets.
Download the ESPN LA app. And bam!
Download the ESPN LA app at the App Store and Google Play.